This is 7th Street Radio and TV, and of course, we are out here hooking up with the best of the best when it comes to interviews. And today we have another special guest. So, guest, please introduce yourself.
Oh, hi. My name is Mr. Fabz, DJ Mr. Fabz, if you like. A DJ and a radio host. That's primarily what I do. Outside that, I have interest in just the creative space. I'm just a general music lover and I love technology as well. And I have a dog.
Yeah, so if we go straight into it, I just want to know, when did your interest in music start?
So when I was in primary school, I used to have cassettes, right? Like these tiny cassettes. So I remember all you needed to do was to put in it into the radio and then play and record at the same time. Then it gets to record music. So yeah, so when I was in primary at that time, the station that was really kicking was Kiss 100. So I was, making sure once I leave school, I catch shows like Top 7 at 7 and stuff like that and record and play back those shows. And also where I grew up, right, there were a lot of pubs around, you know. So like there was always music, like when I go to sleep, I could hear music in the background. So generally that's when like I really started paying attention to music. Yeah.
At that time, did you know maybe you will pursue something professionally, or you are just having fun at that time?
I was having fun. So I liked music. And at the time when I was in school, I wanted to be an astronaut or something. You know, those crazy dreams that kids have. Yeah, I didn't imagine myself taking it up professionally. So I guess I loved music, but I always thought that the only way you can express music is through like singing or doing stuff like that, until I discovered that there's DJing, which is also another, expression of the love of music. So we used to have a neighbor. I grew up in Kisumu. We used to have a neighbor who was one of the biggest reggae dancehall DJs around. So when I learned about DJing, I was like, oh, there's also this other way of expressing music. So growing up, really, I when I was younger, I didn't really think that this is what I was going to do, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. When now did you start DJing?
So I started DJing when I was in campus. This was in around 20, late 2011, early 2012. So I was in class with someone who was already a DJ. His name was Bobby. He was a DJ with Ogopa DJs as the DJing unit, not as the production unit. So I used to see him do things on his laptop with virtual DJ. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. I downloaded it. I started playing around with it. So around late 2011, early 2012, that's when I really started to, try and pursue what this DJing is using my computer. That's how I started. Yeah.
So are you are self-taught, or maybe somebody showed you how to go around it, or how was it at that time? Were there DJing schools at that time?
Um, Crazy. Actually, if I think about it, the moment I started paying attention to it, there was a place near campus where we used to go have lunch. And someone opened a DJ school there. Just like I walked in and there's a DJ school. So I'm like, oh, I can start learning here. So I didn't have the money. So I told him, so can you teach me? And then when I become good and I start making money, I can start paying you back. But he said, no, this is a business. I wish I could do that for you. But that can't happen. So I was like, oh no. That's where actually there was a whiteboard, and the only thing I did at that school was to come up with my DJ name, and then that was it. And then after that, I was like, okay, I need to find someone to teach me. And then there was a DJ who was offering to teach me for 500 bob for maybe an hour at his house. So I started to find ways to make money, and I went for maybe 5 times, 6 times. And then now from there, I just started going to clubs to play, watch other DJs play. Then I learned more. So I didn't really go to a DJ school per se. I had some people who taught me the basics, but most of it was just learning on the go, you know. Yeah.
For DJs, even right now, and I know you have interacted with them, the biggest issue is usually after you have learned now, you need equipment, and of course, these equipment they are very expensive. So you, when you are starting out, how are you able to maybe raise capital to buy your own equipment?
I was actually just able to buy my own equipment last year. Now you can imagine this is in 2021, because like most of the places I used to go play was hard equipment, right? So at that moment, I was like, it's very costly to own equipment. Let me just buy it really when I need it. The best thing I would say is just be friends with DJs who have equipment, so that way you get to practice. Because me, I have had friends who I go to their places from Kichambo. I just go and just learn from there. So always have 1, 2, 3 friends who have equipment. It really helps, because I mean, now there are these small controllers and all of that are cheaper, but they don't give the same experience like a full set of DJ equipment. And also, there's more of them now than there used to be maybe 4 years ago. Now you can get something for maybe 50,000 Kenyan shillings as something small to start off with. Back then, there weren't that many. So for me, I guess, and I'm very grateful that I had like friends who allowed me to use the equipment to just perfect my skill. Yeah.
I want you to talk about you starting out and how was it looking for opportunities, and you are not that known or that famous like maybe right now. You have fame, people know you because of your reputation. So at that time, starting out, how was it looking for opportunities and you are not that known?
It was tough because, of course, most promoters, most club owners want someone who's popular. What I did is, at some point, I was in a DJ unit. In the DJ unit, there were DJs that were a bit popular. So like when you move with them, you're able to access some opportunities and some spaces. So that's how I was able to at least get opportunities, because I was with these DJs, and when you're with them, sometimes they pass on some opportunities to you. So that's what I really helped me access some very good gigs as well, because now when you're under a company, the promoter looks at the reputation of the company, not sometimes the individual. So they say, if you're working with group X, you must be very good, you know. Luckily for me, I think I was good enough. So once you go and do it once, and the person sees you, they don't again mind calling you back as yourself, minus the entire unit. So that's how I got around it. Plus sometimes just networking, you know, just talking to people who are in influential places that gave me opportunities. That really helped me to secure some gigs back then. Yeah. And also just hustling, you know, you just go and ask. You might get lucky, you might not. You just, hey, I'm a DJ, I like this place, can we do something? And that time it was more like, I'm gonna charge you this much just for you to try me out, and then if you like it, then next time I'm gonna ask for X amount. Yeah.
Another thing is usually change in technology, and I want you to also touch on this. You know, nowadays, even as you can see, the technology is changing very fast. We have new equipment every day, a new laptop every day. So a new software every day. So how do you deal with the first change in equipment? Maybe you are using this software, after 2 months or 3 months, you hear there is another new version which is top notch. So how do you deal with that?
Yes. So the DJ industry has been, especially when it comes to technology of the DJing equipment itself, it took time before DJ started to accept that, because nowadays you have equipment that is just like two of my palm, like two, like my hands, like this. It's that small. There was a time you couldn't tell us that that is DJing, that small thing and all of that. So one of the things I've done is to change my mindset. It's like, okay, the technology is moving, so should I. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, as much as the technology is moving, the concept of how it works is the same. So even if another piece of equipment comes, something else comes up, as long as you understand how it works, you're able to use it. And then the last thing I would say in terms of technology is, I try as much as possible to subscribe to these DJ sites, because new technology means new skills. And a lot of the technology that is coming out for DJs right now is aiding towards more, say, music production. So for me, it's just that constant learning, watching videos. Like my Instagram, I think I follow maybe 100 DJ related pages. So when they post, I check out, see what's the latest technology. So for me, it's just been more of embracing and making it intentional that I take time to go and read about what's changing and what's coming. Yeah.
The opportunity that you have on radio, I'm really interested to know how that came about.
Right. So in 2017, what was it? 2017. Oh yeah. In 2017, I was at a club in somewhere in Nairobi on Ngong Road. And then I bumped into a radio presenter on Homeboy's Radio. His name is Calvin Wanguku. Shout out to Calvin. So on Homeboy's Radio, every Friday, they used to bring a different guest DJ. So they give an opportunity to one DJ and all of that. But prior to that, I used to go to Capital FM once in a while on a Wednesday as a guest DJ. And I remember there was one day I was watching the radio presenter. Her name was Rene Ngamao. And then the way she was doing her thing, I was so impressed. So she randomly asked me after the show, what do you want out of this? And I told her, someday I want to sit on that same seat that you're sitting on. So this is maybe 2014. Fast forward to 2017, Homeboys Radio is having different guest DJs every Friday. I bump into Calvin on a night out. This was like a Sunday night out. And then I asked, can I get an opportunity to come on as a guest DJ? Then he's like, sure, here's my number. I text him on Tuesday. He says, come this Friday. So I go on a Friday. My guy, let me tell you, Twitter was crazy that day. Everything just, like, it was mad, Then Jimani was the main host of the show. So he says to me, good. How about you come next Friday? And then I was like, sure thing, because Friday is different DJs coming on board. But I was like, cool, I'm gonna come next Friday. I come and play next Friday. It's like, how about you come the next Friday? So it was that for like maybe 5 Fridays. And then one Friday, I think at the day before, he tells me, don't come in tomorrow. DJ X is coming. X, not like a DJ called X, just some like another DJ is coming. My heart dropped. It's like, now I've missed this opportunity. It's just like he needs an opportunity, but you'll come back next Friday. So that's how it became. So I was just purely DJing. Over time, I watched the presenters And then I was given an extra show on a Sunday morning. I began to like practice, if I could call it, how to be on air, how to, talk on air, do links and all of that while playing music. Then I got another show, a third show for a Thursday afternoon. So that's how I kind of progressed in learning. I took the Sunday show quite seriously and the Thursday show because now those required me to say something. So yeah, I spent about 3 years at Homeboys, and then I think should have been 2020 August. That's when I left. A lot of changes came by that, I mean, weren't really cool with me. And then after that, now in February 2021, I joined Trace FM. And now this, I joined a station that was just starting out on shows. They really didn't have like a specific structure. So I was given now a drive show. Now this is a full show that you're running as a host and a DJ. And I was like, I'm grateful I spent the 3 years there, always just trying to learn, because I came in like today and then you're doing the show that day. It was just like, okay, welcome there. They expect you to know everything. So that's kind of how, I got into radio.
DJing in the club and doing all these events and DJing on radio, like what's the difference, or is it the same? How maybe does the fan base react on radio? How do you know that maybe today you did a good job? Because in the club guys can scream and maybe you can gauge that today's show was very lit. So just talk about DJing in the club and also DJing on radio.
Okay, so how you've done a good job on radio is, one, probably your producer will come to you and say, well, that was a fire show. Or your program controller will come and say that was a fire show. And also you have like interactions on Twitter, you have your WhatsApp messages, you have your call-ins. Plus you as the curator, when you've prepared a very good show. In terms of the difference between club DJing and radio DJing, one of the first basic things about them is, on radio, of course, you play clean music. So it doesn't have any curse words like the way you'd play in a club. In a club, you'd switch the song, you'd tease a song, you can play a song even for 10 seconds, switch and play another song. For the radio, it's more of a listening experience. And so you want to make the listening experience as good as possible. So if, for instance, you're in your car and your favorite song comes on, you don't want to listen to your favorite song for 10 seconds, right? You want it to play out a bit longer. So you'll find that on radio, I'll play songs a bit longer than I would at the club. Also, the energy levels, depending on the time of the day. At the club, you can really pump and hype and make a lot of noise. In the radio, you'd not want to do too much of that, depending on the kind of the show. So if you listen, for me, for instance, if you listen to my Friday show, a bit more energy, a bit more, because it's like the weekend coming in. But the Monday, Wednesday show, a bit more chilled out. What else would I say about? Oh, so when you're DJing on radio, for me, there's something called keys for the songs. At the club, I will not pay too much attention because there's just on a turn up. But on the radio, you'll find that I'll play like 4 songs in the same key, because to the ear, it sounds very nice. And then I switch over to maybe another 3 keys. So I mix a lot in key on radio than at the club. So those are like the most significant differences, I would say, are there. And also radio, you need a lot of familiarity. I guess this also at the club, but the music needs to be very familiar. Maybe at least 80% of the songs need to be familiar to the people who are listening on radio, as opposed to the club, I guess. Yeah.
I also want you to touch on just the challenges of DJing in a club, because I've talked to a couple of DJs, and some of them talk about they play a song and maybe somebody walks in the club and then they request the same song that you have just played an hour ago. And as a DJ, you are conflicted, like, will I just repeat these songs? People will think maybe I'm not serious. So for you, just talk about the challenges that maybe you have experienced in the club.
Uh, I think the challenge for me basically is, in Kenya, for instance, here, or I saw even in Uganda and even Tanzania, guys would be like, you DJs, you're playing the same songs over and over. Try and play something different. They will be on your case. Which song is that? Why are you playing that? So, like, I think the fact that the club also kind of limits you, depending on the crowd. There are some joints where you can explore music more, but like the fact that people want you to play their song, someone will even come and say, Ati, I have it on my phone. Can I send it to you to play? Or can I connect my phone? It's like, you know, the DJs are professional, they know what they're doing, right? And coming to the club expecting that all the songs that you like are going to be played is, I think, a bit selfish. And for instance, say I'm doing a 2 hour set. Most of my gigs will be 2 to 3 hour sets. I cannot play all of your songs in that time. And if I don't have it, I don't see, if it's a nice song, maybe I'll download it. But to come and start causing a scene because I have not played your song, bruh, I don't get that level of entitlement. So yeah, basically that's usually the challenge for me. People who just want their specific songs to be played for them. Otherwise, funny thing, I never have too much drama at the club. I guess the more I'm DJing, the more years I spend, the less drama I'm having for some reason. Back in the day, yeah, I was still a learner. Now I how I prepare for the night, like I am understanding this thing more. So most of the times, me, I just cruise nicely.
If you put money aside, I want to know where you are most comfortable. Is it on radio? Is it in the club? Is it maybe concerts? Where are you like most comfortable?
Of course, having spent a number of years on radio, that's my forte. I love radio. That's where I'm most comfortable. Between clubs and concerts, I would say I'm more comfortable at, I would say, a concert, because like I know if I mean to turn up the energy, I'm gonna turn up the energy. When it comes to club, I'm comfortable. However, crazy thing is I like the opening sets more than the hype sets. Because the hype sets is like, with everyone is gonna dance to You Wanna Bamba, You Wanna Chill with the Big Boy. Like those are the things that's gonna turn up the energy. But the opening mood setting a set, that's where you get to explore music, you get to educate the crowd, you get to set a vibe. I love that part of the night more. So like those are my areas. I mean, I can kill it on the hype for sure, but if I want to really have fun, I like to marinate the people.
Talk about ways in which DJs make money, because this is just for guys who are starting out, and maybe you can just name the various ways of DJs creating revenue in this country.
Okay. So the first thing, minus you going to the club, remember the music business is broader. The same way we tell artists think outside the box and all of that, for DJs it's the same. So one of the things that I've been doing lately is curating playlists. So curating playlists for supermarkets, restaurants, and all of that. That's an extra way in which DJs can make money. At least that's what I've done for me. If you can get now into the music business as someone who understands music, say in the record labels, if you can find a role there, that's an alternative way for a DJ to make money. And also, you always need to remember that you're a creative. The fact that you can mix up music makes you a creative person. So I tap into my creativity and like get involved in events from the planning perspective, because you don't necessarily have to be performing at the event, but you can help to curate the experience, because you go to clubs as a DJ, you go to events as a DJ, you're able to see what can be done better. If you can apply yourself in agencies that come, like for instance, me, you get plugged into the agencies, then you consult in terms of how to make the experiences at the events better. That's also something that I've been doing. If you can get influencer gigs, because you're about the life of the party, those are also really good. And when you get into the influencer gig, don't be only about posting photos and all that. Apply your music knowledge in your creativity when you're promoting these products. So those for me are some of the avenues DJs can explore.
As we are finishing up, I want you to just touch a little bit on our industry when it comes to music. You see, like even in West Africa, we can see that the artist is making strides. So that means maybe the producer will be paid well. It means you as the DJ will be paid well. Yeah, the models will be paid well. So
Right.
for you just interacting with guys in the industry, what do you think maybe as Kenyans we should change in order to compete in the global market?
That's right. Yeah. So I would say one of the things is we need to accept that Kenya is still a young market when it comes to music. We are still understanding the ropes of music. On radio, for instance, I also interview a lot of artists. And one of the things is some of them haven't really made their music business quite professional. So it's just them trying to do everything for themselves. Maybe they do not have a manager. Maybe they do not have, they do not have a structure for how they do their business. So I think that artists really need to make their music business more professional. What I would say also, we need to start embracing our own sounds. I know the conversation about gengetone has, taken a lot of, angles, but like I always feel very bad that we've tried to kill gengetone. If you think about the sound of gengetone, it was a sound that could go international. If you listen to Latina music, if you listen to dancehall music, that sound is almost the same in terms of the energy it has. So I think we need to embrace the sounds that are coming out of Kenya. And also, this is one thing that I've realized with other markets, say Nigeria, South Africa. You see, these guys sampled their own sounds from back then. I think also Kenyan artists need to start sampling our own sounds when we're making music. Kutoka, you can go as early as Kapuka or even further. Get to explore the old sounds and recreate them. That way you get to create unique sounds. At the end of the day, the business is good and all of this, like having a manager, being signed to a label and all of these things might be good. But at the end of the day, what will sell is how good the music is. So for me, I feel there's a lot of talent people just need to keep professional, keep making music, being consistent in the making of the music. Man, I listen to so much music from like artists that are not known, but it's such good music. And sometimes I fail to understand how they are not making it. But from my end, of course, I try as much as possible to just play that music. So I don't think we are doomed. We are still learning and we'll get there. I believe there's so much hope in Kenyan music. Yeah.
For guys starting out, you can just advise them as we are finishing up.
Oh, the DJs.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say get into DJing for the right reasons. And the right reason is genuinely love for music and you want to make a living out of it. Because sometimes young people get into DJing because they think you'll get access to girls and a good time, which is true, but it will not last. I have seen how far this talent that we have as DJs can take you. So just be professional from the word go. Come into this knowing what you want. Never stop learning. And most importantly, just focus on being really good at what you do. Everything else will start to fall in place in the right time.
Thank you so much, bro, for giving us your time. Wish you all the best.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very grateful.